Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's a real privilege for Jody and I to be part of this amazing initiative. And this is our heart, and to Jill, to Sue, and to Justin, we just want to say well done and thank you for including us. These are just some aerial shots that they took of the village just a couple of days ago, the progress we've made over the last 2 years. But South Africa's at a crossroads, I believe. And we keep pointing our fingers at government and telling them how useless they are. I believe it's time for us to come off the stands and start to be part of what this beautiful country offers. I believe that this country is in our hands. I truly believe that. We've had an amazing relationship with government. I believe they're at that place where they're desperate, not desperate. I suppose they are desperate. But they want people who will draw alongside them and become part of the solution, instead of, as we've done over the last 17 years, tell them how bad they are. And as they start to see people who are prepared to do that, I know that they are prepared to open their arms and embrace us. So today I just hope that I will encourage you to come off the stands, that every single person in this nation can make a difference. I have a dream for this nation, and I see it coming to reality. But the more people that get involved, the quicker and the better it will be. And so this initiative is just, I was so excited when we were asked to be part of this. Because we live in a beautiful country. The stats, when you look at it at the moment, are not great. We have more cases of rape and abuse against women and children than anywhere else in the world. Our crime stats are unacceptable. We have unemployment, as I said, is unacceptable. Our crime rate is unacceptable. The abuse against women and children is the greatest in the world. But for me, the biggest problem that we face in this country, and a survey that was done in September 2011 by the IMF, South Africa is rated #1 in the world. The greatest disparity between the rich and the poor is right here in our nation. And I was really saddened when I saw that, as I said to the Premier, I said, you've been in power for 17 years now, and now we've become the #1 country in the disparity between the rich and the poor. And so with all that, I truly believe that we can make a significant difference. We've been left with opportunities to be able to bridge these gaps, which we've inherited from the atrocious apartheid era. Our lives have been changed drastically over the last 12 years, and I just want to quickly give you a short summary of what's happened, resulting in LIVE as we see it on the screens behind us. In 1997, God gave me a vision to build villages for children, that they would know Him as their Father, to create jobs for rural communities that they could sustain their families, and that the government will come and see why it works. It was a ridiculous vision. I was too embarrassed to share it with anybody but my wife, and we tried in our own strength to put this vision into place. We failed many times, and we hadn't even started to work in the communities at that time. But in 2001, my wife started feeding 30 children under a tree in a place called Amaoti. Amaoti is an informal settlement at the bottom of Inanda. It's a shack land with 100,000 people. One of the saddest things for me is that prior to 2001, I'd never been into these communities to see how more than 50% of our people live. And I think many of us, as we go into these communities, God breaks our hearts for the things that break His. And as we went in there, God started to really break my heart for the poor, the destitute, the widow and the orphan of this nation. That started in 2001. It grew from 30 children to 100 and 150 children. And Joni soon realized that many of these kids were not in school. Schooling is supposed to be free in this country, but when you've got a pair of shorts and dirty shirts and no shoes, you're not going to be going to school. And so we started a back to school program where we now have 600 children back in school in Amaoti. The beauty of these initiatives are that we see the fruit of what happens. And I just want to tell you of a precious little child, Valentina Ndaba. She came onto our program when she was 5 years old. Her mother was killed in a motor accident, and the last time she saw her father was at the funeral of her mother. Her grand brought her up. She lived in a mud shack in Amaoti. In 2011, we got this letter from her. Thank you for, please will I thank the donor for sponsoring her school fees. With that was her results. She wrote higher grade. She got 6 distinctions, ranging from 84 to 98. And she got 78 for maths, the only subject. And I know many of us, if that was our child, we would have asked for a remark. But I showed this letter and her results to Professor Jonathan Jansen. I don't know if many of you would know of him. He's the professor and rector of University of Free State, an amazing man who's made an amazing difference in this nation, bringing reconciliation between the races. I said to Prof, look at this results. He said, send it to me. This child had never been out of Amaoti in her life. She had never been out of her home, her mud shack with her gran after dark, for fear of being raped and abused. And we took this precious child to Bloemfontein. She's now in residence there. Jonathan Jansen said to me, he's never known a child to impact a university like that in his entire life of education, 34 years. She's doing journalism. She wrote 11 subjects last year. In her first year at university, she got 7 distinctions. I just realized how many millions of these children are out there getting no chance. And so that initiative is being carried on in Amaoti. We now have 32 creches where we feed 2,500 children every day. The creches are the only safe place for these children. They're getting raped and abused from 6 months old. This is now being carried on by a foundation, the Domino Foundation. We started as Ndlela. They've recently changed their name. They're doing amazing work in Amaoti. Lungisani Ndlela was the organization that took over from there, where we have sport. We have 40-odd teams in the soccer leagues. We have aftercare for these children, and we planted a church. 2007, Angus Buchan gave me a book called Passing the Baton. And as I read this book, I felt God say to me, it's time to pass the business on to my son and come and do what I've called you to do. So I joined my wife full-time in Amaoti in 2007. 2008, I felt God say that I should spend time with him. And in 2009, he said to me, the time for the village is now. The vision he gave me in 1997, I tried to get land from government, but they weren't forthcoming with the land. But 2009, we were able to buy a farm. We were in a different position now, and so we bought the farm in the name of the Section 21 company called Lungisisa Ndlela Village. Ndlela means the way, was the first NPO. Lungisani Ndlela means the right way. And Lungisisa Ndlela, Lungisani Ndlela means prepare the way. Lungisisa Ndlela means the right way. We believe the restoration of the family is the solution to this country. And so we bought the farm, and then we had no money. I said, Lord, now what do I do? And I found 100 guys to give me 1,000 rand each a month for 12 months. And so we had 100,000 in income, and we started to do the applications and the town planning for this village. I then felt God say we needed to bring business and government together. I believe the church is the only organization that can bring business and government together. And we had an amazing banquet at the ICC where we invited 4,000 people from business and government. And we had this event and we raised the money for the first village. This is the first village. We've now bought the farm on the left. We have 180 hectares and we're hoping to put 2,000 to 3,000 children into a beautiful situation where they'll have a mother that will love them. We feed and educate them. We've got a school of a private school quality. Margot Reed, who some of you may know, she was headmistress at Durban Girls College and from the college is now Director of Education. And so these kids have a very special school, a home and a mum. We thought the village would probably cost 20 million, and I said humbly that it's cost over 100 million. But we've raised the money as I've seen business and government come together. We built the first 16 homes, and then I ran into trouble because we didn't have sewers and we couldn't use soak pits, and the municipal sewers don't go to where the village is. The village overlooks Hazelmere Dam. We're 4 kilometers due west from the airport and only 20 kilometers from here. And I said to the Premier, who came to the banquet and spoke at the banquet, he said to me when I first met him, he said, Titch, I can see that you bought this village, this farm. I can see this thing's going to happen with or without me. Best that I'm part of this with you. And so after we built the first 16 homes, I said to him, I've got no money for the sewers, Doc. I said, I can find people who will sponsor homes and schools, but I've got no money for the sewers. Nobody seems to want to sponsor sewers. He said, Titch, I can't help you. I love and trust you unless you can convince my ministers that what we're doing is a solution to the problem we have in this country. 5.2 million orphan children. 12,000 being orphaned every month, mainly in KwaZulu-Natal. If we don't do something about it, our crime rates, as I said, are at unacceptable levels. Can you imagine another 5 million children on the streets? We're going to need armed guards to take our grandchildren to school if we don't do something about it. And he said, if you can convince my ministers, then I will be able to assist you. And so he opened the door for me to go to Cabinet. I went to Cabinet and shared the vision with the Cabinet in Pietermaritzburg, the MECs and HODs. And as I finished, the Minister of Health stood up and he said, ladies and gentlemen, I've just got back from Rwanda. I saw babies feeding off the breasts of dead mothers. He said, we fast go down that road in this nation if we don't do something about it. He said, what we've seen and heard in Cabinet this morning, how can we as the government stand in the way of God's vision for this nation, for the children of this nation? He said, I support this 100%. The following week, I got a memo from Cabinet to say all 13 government departments supported LIV. I told the Premier that I didn't want any money from him if he wants to have a say in the running of the village. I believe the church has been called to look after the widows and orphans. With this memo came the support of all 13 government departments, and they gave us 90 million rand. So we have created an organization that I pray will be transparent, that will be accountable, and it will run with integrity, that every single cent will be accounted for. We have a staff that the BE legislation is an amazing piece of legislation, but once again it's been abused by certain few individuals. And as we've used this legislation, every single salary of a person who does not work on the village, which includes our accounting team, our marketing team, our administration team, every single salary is sponsored by a company knowing that they're sponsoring that salary and not going to the children. My wife and I don't draw 1 cent from the organization. We live off the business that my son runs. And so we're trying to create something that, as I said, is transparent, accountable, integrity, where everybody will want to be involved, where you can see where every cent is going. And so every cent that's given to the children ends up with the children. And so we're just so encouraged when we see business and government coming together. The sustainability of the village is where the hard work begins. We need 2 million rand a month to look after 1,000 children. It seems impossible, but God has given us an amazing plan. We get 700,000 of that from government, that if you look after any orphan child, you will get 700 rand per child from government. We've done a deal with Discovery Health, and they have saved us 300,000 rand per month with our medical care. We're building a clinic on the village that will take care of these children. And therefore, we're looking for 1,000 sponsors at 1,000 rand each that will sponsor the 1,000 children on this first village. And then this village will be complete, sustained. But we know that donations are not sustainable. And so we've started Live Business Pty Limited. 3 accountants have left their jobs to join Live full-time to run Live Business. Live Business, we own 8 businesses already, and we're inundated with people wanting us to become their BEE partners, because Live Business Pty Limited is owned 100% by the Section 21 company, making it the most broad-based BEE company in the country, because the only beneficiaries from these businesses are the widows and orphans on the villages. So BEE was brought in to empower the underprivileged of the nation. And now governments see with Live that it's been used as it was supposed to be. So government and business have got so excited about this. And some of you may know Louis van Zoyner, CEO of Absa Bank. He has now retired from the bank and is chairman of Live Business. So we're getting amazing people join us as we see that not only do we look after the children of the nation, but we're starting to create jobs, skill and train the people and employ the people in the rural communities. I flew into Entebbe one day. They have the Waitoto villages there where they look after 2,500 children. And as I arrived at the airport, Waitoto means little children in Luganda. I put my destination Waitoto. And the immigration guy, a big guy, looked at my papers. He looked up at me, he looked down at the paper, he looked into my eyes, and tears just streamed down his cheek. He said, Waitoto, those are the people that look after our children. I pray that one day when people land at Kinshasa Airport and they put their destination KwaZulu-Natal, that they will be able to say, those are the people that look after our children. And so that's my hope and my dream. But I truly believe that if we're going to do that, we're going to need to have a mindset change. After I finished playing sport, I chased fame and fortune all my life. Sylvester Stallone once said, he said, fame and fortune is like a mirage in the desert. You strive all your life to get there, and when you get there, there's nothing. I strived all my life, and I didn't reach fame and fortune. I ended up in a home for alcoholics and drug addicts. I came to know Jesus, and as He restored my life, I started to realize that we don't need any more successful people in the world. Successful people are not going to change the world, but significant people will change this world. We don't need any more Tiger Woodses in the world. We don't need Wayne Rooney's. We don't need Amy Winehouse's or Michael Jackson's. We don't even need Donald Trump's. They're not going to change this world. We need people like Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Patrick Lambie, Jason van der Walt, and Sunay Simon. Significant people like that are going to change this nation. And so I just pray that we will change our focus from success to significance. And I believe what this is starting today is exactly that. Success is all about me, my family, my business, my school. It's all about me. Significance, on the other hand, is not about me. Significance is about others. Success always looks good on the outside. What designer clothes I wear, what car I drive, what house I live in, what suburb I live in. Success always looks good on the outside. Significance, on the other hand, has meaning on the inside. Success means finding favor with like-minded people. Significance means building bridges over divides with people who are not like us. The legacy of apartheid has left huge gaps and bridges, divides between races, between cultures, between economic groups. We have amazing opportunity in this nation to live significant lives, like some of those names I mentioned. Success means never having to say you're sorry. Significance means coming to terms with your own brokenness and the brokenness of others. I pray that you would have a privilege of going into some of these communities and seeing the way more than 50% of our people live. I know that it will break your hearts. Success means taking care of yourself first, where significance means putting your life on the line for others. If you've got an organization or business is battling, if your people would see you put your life on the line for them, I want you to see the change in the morale of those people. Success is what is safe and acceptable to others. Significant leaders, on the other hand, make unexpected and sometimes outrageous decisions. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in solitary confinement. The day he came out, he said, let's forgive each other. Let's build a rainbow nation. An outrageous decision. God's grace, His forgiveness, is outrageous. Success is what people say about you when you are alive, where significance is what people say about you when you're no longer here. I played sport, and I realized that success and what people say about you is very short-lived. It wasn't so long ago, and some of you are probably too young to remember 1995 when we won the World Cup for the first time. Andre Jabeur was a darling of this nation. All the women used to say to me what beautiful legs he had. I used to sit with Andre Umhlanga, and every girl used to stop, and every person used to stop to greet Andre. But last year I sat with him at breakfast at Europa, and people walked by, and by I said to Andre, things have changed. Nobody even recognizes you. The very next day I sat in that same place with little Patrick Lambie, and the 20-year-old girls were taking pictures of his motor car because it had his name on it. I said to Andre, oh, times have changed, and they change quick. Success is what people say about you when you're alive. Success is gauged about how much money you have in your bank account when you die, where significance is gauged on how much money you give away to those less privileged than yourself when you're still alive. I think we all know about Warren Buffett and Bill Gates Probably the most successful people that have ever been in the industries which they took part in. But I think the most significant things they've ever done is give away that wealth to look after the poor in this world. Success is about ensuring that your children get as many distinctions as they can in matric. Where significance is ensuring that your children get distinctions in life. Where have the manners and respect and love of our children gone? As we chase fame and fortune, we're not giving our children the opportunity to get distinctions in life. But we will make every opportunity to get all the distinctions they can in matric. Jonathan Jansen was telling me about a young guy at Menlo Park in Pretoria. Before the legislation was changed, he wrote 23 subjects in matric and got 23 distinctions. Jonathan Jansen's comment was, what moron would allow their children to write 23 subjects in matric? He said the child couldn't speak to his colleagues or to his peers, he couldn't converse or communicate with his parents or adults. He spent every minute of every day in his books. We need to make sure our children have opportunities to get distinctions in life. Success is about profit in the present, where significance is about investing into the future. Let us start to invest into the lives of others. Let us start investing into the lives of our children. To be successful, you need to have talents and gifts in business or sport, but to be significant, you only have to have a heart for others. Success does not always necessarily lead to significance, but significance will always lead to success. If we sow into the lives of little Valentino and Davis, we will get millions of children getting distinctions in school, distinctions in life, and becoming leaders in our society. Let us change our mindset from success to significance. I hear so many people say that when they've got a degree, when they've got a decent job, when they've paid off their bonds, then they will start to make a difference. Patrick Lambie, a young man who's made an impact on the rugby field. John Smith said to me, Ted Shields going to make an impact all over fields, on fields all over the world. But he said he's never known a young man who's impacted so many people off the field in such a short space of time. He said he's never met a young man with love and concern for others as Patrick Lambie. Jason van der Walt, a 12-year-old boy from St. John's College in Johannesburg, 12 years of age. He now feeds 1 million children every month. 12 years old. Sunay Zaman, a young girl from Kimberley, she's now 12. We met her when she was 11. She's put 5 now. She's put 5 people through university. She's 12 years old. We don't have to wait until we've got a decent job, earning big money, paid off our bonds. We can make a difference right here and now. If we would only change our focus from success to significance. There's nothing wrong with success. But success combined with significance will change the face of this nation. This country is in our hands. Mother Teresa once said, all I want to be is a little pencil in the hand of Almighty God as He writes a love letter to the world. I ask you today, will you be that little pencil in the hand of Almighty God as He writes a love letter to the poor, the destitute, and the widow and orphan of this nation? I pray that you would be that pencil, that you would write that letter, that children such as you see on the short DVD, that their lives will be changed forever. This nation is in our hands. Thank you.